What is going on, everyone, and welcome to the live. Sorry I missed last night's live because kind of crazy here in Texas with all the snow. Half the city, at least the city of Austin, is out of power. Luckily, obviously you're seeing this live. I'm luckily not, but the market's open for another hour and a half, hour and 40 or so, so I figured I'd jump on. I'd pretty much just settled down right now, at least for now. Who knows what's going to happen tonight, but just settled down. So I wanted to review. I didn't do much. I did just buy one thing, which we'll talk about, but I want to settle down and we'll review some stuff. Obviously, we have that CCIV news, right? So CCIV is going crazy. I never bought it. Yeah, did I miss out? Yeah. I just, personally never took a shot at it. So I mean, this could be a good overnight play. I mean, this could make a run to $100. I would not be surprised, to be honest with you. So we'll see what happens with that one. But my positions are up on the left, so at least that shows you what I'm in. But a lot of them I'm scaling out. So a lot of the Bitcoin related plays I'm still holding because I don't think that that's going away. We take a look at Bitcoin here. I mean, Bitcoin still looks strong. I mean, it's still kind of in a consolidation. It's not making like a straight up move, but it hit over 50,000 earlier today. So, or was that last night? I think it was early this morning. So, I'm holding my Bitcoin related plays. I've been scaling out little by little, taking off 100 shares here, 50 shares here, little by little. So that's that. Bitcoin, sitting just under 50,000. So we'll obviously see how that goes. And then, we will see what happens from there. The overall market is green. S&P's up. Dow is up, but the NASDAQ is down today. So NASDAQ is lagging. So we'll see what happens as we finish out the day. I'll get to some questions too, and we'll have some fun. So the one thing I did buy today, though, we'll mention that, is POLA. I'm sorry, I was going to make a video or at least talk about it in the live stream yesterday, going over some stocks because of the storm, right? Because of what's going on. There's like multiple storms going on. And because we're seeing, right, a lot of just the Midwest and even the central and the south part of the country, what they're doing is, they're shutting off power voluntarily. Like the grid has to shut off power. And so I'm looking at generator related plays because kind of the plays that we looked at back when, hurricane season was going crazy. POLA was one, and PPSI. Appreciate the donation. Thank you so much. But those are two plays that I was looking at saying, these could be solid. And the reason why POLA I still like, and I grabbed 60 shares for now. We'll see. I will buy more if it comes down towards 15. So my last ditch will be around this 1575. If it can't hold that, I'll probably cut it under there. But I will be buying more down to there. First target $20, which that's kind of a baby target. So I only have a very small portion of shares being set to sell there, and I'm looking for more on POLA. We'll see though. I don't know if it's going to have a big effect with all the storms and stuff and people losing power. So we'll see. That's also somewhat of a localized thing, although it is happening, I think a lot in a lot more places than people realize across, at least from my personal experience, I know in Texas and Oklahoma have had that issue. So we'll see. I just thought it could be a decent play, especially because the chart setup is nice too. Coming down towards support, putting in higher lows, consolidating after the recent move up, kind of making a bull flag type of shape. If we can break out of this downtrend, we're looking good, and that's POLA. But PPSI actually has a better, looking chart, and it kind of broke out of the downtrend today. So PPSI, I'm not in, but I like that chart setup a lot, actually. So POLA, in terms of risk reward, I like that the most, but PPSI chart setup wise, I do like that one quite a bit, the way it's setting up. So it pushed up today, pulled back, market came down, then the market kind of, hovered up and finished, it's finishing just green for right now. We'll see how it obviously closes. We're going to be here for the close. But if this thing can finish up around 8-ish, that's probably a good sign, and we'll see how this thing can push going forward. We can extend this line if we have to. Oops, not this line. We can extend this line down here, obviously, if we have to. And so we'll see how things go. This is going to be, these are swing ideas. These are not day trade ideas, obviously. So we'll see. SCKT, yeah, I was not around for the morning. I didn't see any of that stuff in the morning. It was kind of crazy. That was a crazy one, though, up 700%. Wow, this thing is a beast. From 3 to 35. Nuts. I think when I looked at it this morning early, it was up around 10. It must have been like right around the open. That's crazy, though. This could be a good runner into the end of the day, so this could be a good one. It's putting in a higher low right here, holding up around 25. So we'll see if it could hold 25 or so. Could be a good run into the end of the day. Let's see. Appreciate everybody. Yeah, everyone, if you guys are jumping in, make sure just hit the thumbs up button. I really appreciate that. That gets more ideas flowing in the chat, which is awesome. Let's see. Too early, you're still at work. Yeah. Well, I figured I was gonna just do this now because I don't know what's gonna happen tonight. We had people staying over, and so because there's places that like literally 2 blocks away, no power, and it's like 20 degrees outside, and tonight it's gonna get cold again. So we had people staying over last night. So I wanted to do this, and hopefully, by tomorrow we can get back to normal. I'm up pretty nice on the week without doing anything because that's the power of swing trading. Yeah, could I have opened up down big? Yeah, I could have also opened up down big, but I have a decent amount of cash that I'm ready to deploy, and I'm looking for dips. I'm looking for some big dips in the overall market. So as we're watching, SCKT is actually dipping right now, down back under 25. So we'll see. ZOM and NAKD. Let's pull these bad boys up. Because I remember I was looking at it last week. ZOM is kind of in a weird range. It's in a range between $3 and honestly $2. I would like it to close to 2 as possible for it to maybe find some support there. If it can hold 225, maybe that's a good spot. But that's that. And then NAKD. NAKD is I think is better in terms of a chart setup to me than ZOM. Just because if we can take a look at NAKD, let's put in trend line really quick. I mean, roughly, you can attach some of these bottoms right here on that trend line. It's holding up roughly on that trend. Would I like to see the thing coming back down below $1? No. So that maybe that's kind of like the cutoff point. I'm not an SNDL. How are those, cannabis stocks doing? And you guys, I'm literally I'm kind of lost. I just, this weekend was kind of crazy. So I didn't do the usual things that I do to prepare for the week, unfortunately. SNDL, I am not in. I'm kind of looking to see what it does the next couple of days, personally. So we'll see. I think this was a decent dip buy, but we'll obviously see $2. Maybe if $2 holds up, that looks solid. The one that I think I had some questions on was NEPT. NEPT, because this stock had earnings, I believe, and after earnings, they kind of, obviously we can see this little gap down. So that offers an opportunity. The only thing is that I played NEPT like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago off a 50 SMA bounce from this 175 up to over $3. It actually hit nearly 6 in the pre-market hour. So that was crazy. NEPT could be a decent bounce play. I think under 2 down, with a stop down, I would say I wouldn't want to hold NEPT down below the 50 SMA. I mean, maybe you can hold it down towards 175 at the worst. So maybe that's the idea on that. That's just kind of how I see it. This could be a good bounce zone. So if you do want a cannabis play that not many people know about, this was one that ran up quite a bit post the big runs on SNDL, CRBP, Tilray. It kind of lagged behind to a degree and then made a pretty big run. But you don't need to have a million different plays. I mean, at the end of the day, right, you don't need a million plays. A couple solid setups will set you up, very, very nice. HJLI, look at this. This guy is pushing up. We're about 40 cents off for my first target that I wanted. I mentioned this one in a recent video, I believe, as well. I think in the top stocks for the week, the weekly update video. So I was like, hey, I'm liking this thing down towards $7. As it dipped, it had an offering price at 7. So it pushed up, and it's pushing up today. So we're kind of filling that gap. We're into that gap. We'd like to see it come up towards, $8 or $8.50, $9. Well, I got to sell it, $8.73. So we'll see if we can get up there. And that's that for that one. There's going to be a lot of dip buy opportunities, I think, in the cannabis space. Meanwhile, also to watch is Tilray. Tilray led the pack on the initial. So Tilray's bouncing here off of the upper 20s and now into the low 30s. So Tilray's bouncing pretty good. If Tilray continues this momentum to the upside, yeah, SNDL is going to follow. You're going to see CRBP, probably NEPT, they're going to follow. So maybe look to Tilray. If Tilray looks solid, then those are some solid entries I think you can get on those other plays. They're just, for me right now, I played them, and did quite well on them. I'm going to give them some time to cool off. And if they run again, they run again. There's always another play. All right. ZOM has March 30th. They have the catalyst of their launch of their True Forma product. That's their catalyst in March, which they got plenty of time. They got a month and a half still. So that's that. New to all this paper trading to get some chops. Contraring on EV like Solo and Neo. Yeah, let's take a look. I do actually. Let me see how Solo looks right now. Solo is a really good chart setup. I like. You know what I might actually do? I might buy some CBAT and SOLO today or tomorrow. Sometime this week I want to buy some of that because I do like these plays. This chart setup looks really good. Why is that? Kind of we're consolidating, holding up, putting in roughly higher lows, but also this 50 SMA is sitting right here just underneath where it's at. So we got some support to the downside. It looks pretty solid to me. So I do kind of like Solo where it's sitting. I think CBAT has a similar setup, but CBAT is starting to perk up, off of this kind of consolidation. So I like CBAT under 8, Solo around the $8. Those are some solid spots, I think, for those two. I played AYRO. Let's take a look at AYRO recently. Look at AYRO, right? I was playing it very similar chart setup. I bought it in here. Boom, spiked, sold the spike, and that's it. And move on to the next one. Yeah, could this one go for more? Yeah, but that's kind of how I played it personally. And then Neo I have as a long-term play. Neo I have in the long-term portfolio, and I'm just holding my Neo. And I actually bought a little bit more, I think, last week or the week before that, back in the mid-50s. As the portfolio grows, I want to make sure that my position on Neo also continues to kind of scale up to that same kind of percentage that it's holding in that portfolio, right? So that's kind of how I do it, roughly. So that is that. The things that we are also watching that I've been watching, let's take a look at how USO is doing, just to get a sense on oil. Yeah, look at USO hitting up. It's actually at the highs right now. It's hitting a high of 440.40, and it's at 40.38 right now. So USO is pushing up. What does that mean? HUSA, look at HUSA hitting 355 today. That's actually pretty good. I hit my sell up around 350. So HUSA is looking solid. CEI is up over 2, looking solid, very close to my next sell. I've been scaling out of this one for a while, but I've been playing it a couple times. And then USCG, that buy around 540 was solid. So USCG also pushing up for oil. So a bunch of oil plays. I think PED, how's PED doing? PED. PED is in our oil play. Yeah, it's not really doing too much, which could be a somewhat of a lagger, with oil pushing up like it is. So I do kind of like, those are a couple of oil plays that I like. I'm not in PED right now, but I'm in HUSA, CEI, and USCG. But I'm also, USCG I would say is kind of like the least risky. CEI and HUSA have significant downside from where they are, like $1. They can come down $1. From where they are if oil kind of collapses, which it doesn't seem like it's going to, but that's kind of that. So those are good. Those are some good stocks, though. Solo and Neo are some solid plays for paper trading to start out to get your feet wet. KNDI is probably a very similar chart as well, right? KNDI, yeah, very similar EV play. Not exactly the same exact chart because it's hovering around the 50 SMA. So the 50 SMA, this is an example of a stock that 50 SMA support or resistance isn't as useful because it kind of hasn't really respected it too well. It's kind of up and down around it. So every stock is going to have a different kind of personality and behave differently. But this is another similar chart setup where it's relatively low from where it has spiked to in the past. EV momentum, this is one that could spike quite a bit as well. So that's what I would be watching for sure. Let's see, TMBR. Oh yeah, CCIV, we'll talk about that too. TMBR, a lot of people are talking about TMBR. TMBR has like a beautiful kind of, rounded out U shape. It's getting up there. This is not something that I would look to be, obviously going short on. It's pushing up. Let's see. Where are some of these highs? $3. It cleared through $3 today. Now, if it can close over 3, that's a really bullish sign. It's got to get above 335. So if TMBR can close over 3, that's really bullish. It still looks, pretty bullish. Although you can get a pullback for sure. You can certainly get a pullback down towards 250 or so for, and that would be healthy. But I like TMBR. It's been really grinding. Volume has been crazy as of late. Today it looks like it could be one of the higher volume days. 17 million. The high from last week was 24 million. With about an hour and a half to go. Yeah, we could certainly see TMBR making a new record, or at least a recent high in terms of volume shares traded. So let's see what else is going on. What am I noticing? POLA is doing decent. It's pushing up. This is actually really good. I may add to this. I may add to this one because you know what? POLA, as we're watching it right now, it's sitting here at 18. But look at this. This is kind of a hammer candle, which is usually a bullish reversal sign. So when you see it, what a hammer candle really kind of means is you have a wick at the bottom. So like the bottom, like your handle of the hammer, and then the top is where like the actual candle is. which means that the stock came down in the day, but then it recovered and actually closed a lot higher than where it was at one point, which means there were some buyers to kind of bring it back up. So that could be a good sign. Now, does that really mean much? No. Does it have to respect that? No. But it could be a decent time, or maybe I'll look to add some more of that one into the close. And that one's also kind of like a thesis play. More storms going into the northeast. There's more storms coming across the south. We'll see how the rest of the week goes. I'm thinking, this has been a hot sector, right? Power. Do I have the site up? Let's pull up Polar Power. Here's the site. Looks solid. They have, they have a bunch of ties, right, into a couple places. EVs, charging EVs. You're talking temporary power and rental, so backup generators and stuff like that. So with storm, people losing power, things like that, these could get more attention. Whether it necessarily means that it's going to benefit this company right now, I don't know. There's more to it, but generally just playing off of themes, this could be a decent play. So that's why I kind of like that. And then let's see, what do we got? CCIV. Wow, that thing's pushing up. So this thing, I'm not touching CCIV. I haven't, although this is not a terrible idea. Maybe if you wanted to potentially take a shot at it right here into the close, here's kind of a downtrend line to play it off of. Breaks out of this downtrend or holds this, $50 area. Could come down below like 49. But if it holds 50 or so, this could get a nice push into the close. I wouldn't be surprised. Would not be surprised. NPA, I like NPA. Can you portfolio that's too diversified? What I do is I have fairly diversified portfolio in terms of my long-term portfolio, in terms of what I'm in. Throw a bunch of, even I have Bitcoin in there too, and some cryptos, Ethereum as well. Not necessarily, I wouldn't say that they're all in the same account, but I kind of categorize them all together as long-term investments. So that's one thing that I do personally, but also when it comes to my active trades, which is what we're, the account we're in right now, and mostly what we focus on here for the most part. And I have some videos in my long-term portfolio, but for the most part, it's mostly short-term trades, things like that. This is diversified to a degree, but at the same time, I'm in and out of stuff super fast sometimes. So like I swing trade, right? But I could be out of something, like I could be out of, any of these stocks tomorrow. If they make a big run, I'm out and I'll move, reposition that cash into something else. That's just how I personally like to do it. MVIS has been crushing. This thing's been a beast. I liked MVIS a while back as a kind of a speculative play. I think it was back in the 2s or maybe the 1s, and the thing blew up crazy, pulled back. I think there was some short reports and whatnot, but that got blown up, and this thing is crushing it the past couple of weeks, blowing up over $20. I looked at it last week and I was like, this MVIS is over 20. I remember I was like talking about when it was like $3, which that's nuts. Where's the pup? He's not here. He's over there somewhere. Let's see. Okay. First time here, awesome. If it's the first time here, just make sure you hit the thumbs up button, and that is all we ask. And I appreciate that. DPW. I wish I had sold some Did I? Maybe I sold some DPW today. I think it may have hit in the pre-market hours. I wasn't paying attention. Because for those who are jumping in now, I'm currently living in Austin, Texas, which look outside, it's all snow and it's super cold. I'm actually from the Northeast though, so I'm used to it. And a couple inches of snow, no big deal. But this city doesn't know how to deal with that. So it's there's no plows, there's no salt. It's just the roads are ice, and it's fine when it snows and it melts, but it's not melting. It snowed 2 days ago and it hasn't really melted. So been nuts here. Been kind of a crazy couple of days, and most people around me are out of power. So also NNDM was another one that we have an offering. This could be a decent idea too. I don't want to kind of throw myself into a million different things, but if you do like NNDM, this is not a bad idea. I like NNDM down around here. If it comes down to 13, that's kind of my lowest spot. I'll buy it. But I like NNDM for a push back to 18 plus. So I was thinking about NNDM in the long-term portfolio today. Would need to free up some cash to do it, but I didn't do it today. Maybe tomorrow, we'll see. But I think NNDM after the offering, it's been a good buy. Whether you believe in the company fundamentally or not, and there's some people who are very skeptical about the company. because they continue to raise capital, and they, what do they kind of have to show for it, at least as of right now? A lot of it's being, future price factored in, I guess, a future, growth factored in. So that's kind of the deal. What else do we have? I still have those VXX calls, man. VXX calls bleeding me out, but I'm holding them for now just because the market is up there. Let's take a look at SPY. How is SPY doing right now? Not DPW. We want SPY. Sorry. SPY is up. Yeah, I mean, look at where it's at though. It's at the top of this line, so that's why I have those VXX calls just in case. And VXX essentially is going to go up when the market comes down. So here, let me just extend this line really quick, and we'll see how this goes. I mean, if we break out to the upside and blow off the top of this right here and hit 400, that's going to be kind of crazy for SPY, for the overall market. But I would like to see a nice dip. Let's get a nice dip down in here, and then that's where I'm looking to kind of go heavier onto some swings. But for now, my swings are fairly light. I'm in a bunch, but I'm, fairly light and scaling out of plenty of them as well. So that's the plan. TRCH, I did like it. I just missed the opportunity to buy it last week. That was my opportunity to grab a lot. I missed it. I saw it on what was it, on Friday? I missed it. I didn't buy it. I was looking at it on Friday saying, look at this setup on TRCH. A couple days prior on Wednesday, the thing popped up to over 3, came back down and held up very, very well at 225, and then blew up into the end of the day. Very beautiful risk reward trade that I was looking at. I was just looking at something else, came back to it. Next thing I knew, TRCH over 250, and I didn't want to buy it over 250 because I just, I didn't know how, how it was going to play out. I like to buy bottoms. That's just kind of my style of doing stuff. And so that's that. Meanwhile, I just saw my CEI order get filled, so that just sold. So yeah, this has been blown up. I think there's a lot more potential value here though, for sure. So we'll see. But there's a big gap down, so this thing has room to fill this gap down towards $3. So there's a lot of volatility here. I don't play them up here. Could it continue to go? Yes, but if it does, I would be much more happy and much more comfortable with an average right down under 250, whereas an average up here. So I mean, I like to go a little bit heavier. If I was to buy it here, I can't go heavy, and it's like kind of like a waste of space, and it just kind of takes my focus off of something else because I have it in my account. I kind of have to watch it and manage it, right? If I want to make sure that I don't lose on the trade. So then it takes my focus away. Personally, that's just how I do it. Let's take a look at CEI. CEI is pushing up. Look at that. So oil and gas plays are pushing up still. Now we're looking for CEI to make a run towards 243, and if it does, awesome. And then I'm going to set my last sell for that guy up around 293, just because I want to make sure if it goes crazy in the after hours, I just lock in gains. And this one was funny. I didn't go big. I had a couple hundred shares, but and I just grabbed it back in here. I think back in the mid ones or 130s or something. Or actually, I had an average at 150, but I think I rebought higher after a dip. On Thursday or Friday, I bought on the dip, and then up my average. But these plays are going great. HUSA is pushing up. Let's see, is it pushing up at the end of the day? Yeah, a little bit, getting a little bit of action. Then USEG is the one that's really kind of lacking those two. Three of them for right now. So that's good. This one looks like it's going to probably hit my next sell here. Look at that. Someone's slapped this bad boy. Someone just slapped it. I mean, another thing too to watch is that who knows? We'll see how this goes at the end of the day. This could be kind of a fun little run on CEI. But another thing too is my strategy. Everyone's different on how they want to take profits, but on this thing, right, I'm locking in gains in the way. Could this thing go to I don't even know. Could this thing go crazy? Go to like $4 or $5? Yeah. But I mean, I'm in from under 2. So I'm locking in gains and I move on to the next one. The high percentage trade is here, is taking a chunk of the move. So the high percentage trade, right, is getting a chunk of this move. And the low percentage trade is when you're buying a ton of it up here, and then the next day, all of a sudden there's bad oil news or something like that, or the overall market's down huge for whatever reason. Stimulus is delayed. Who knows, right? Then the backside comes even faster, and the next day, it's back down to your average or even below, and you're losing money. So that's why I like to take my chunk of the move, because it's many times it's there and it's more consistent than swinging for the fences and holding your whole load of shares all the way on up. So that's my thoughts there. Solo, people asking about this one. I like to swing a lot. The longer it sits here, the more that I'm going to probably look to grab it. I'm just in a bunch of things that I want to kind of clear up for right now. So we'll see. before we get into solo, but that's one that I do like. Chart setup wise, I think that the setup is there. ET. Let's pull up some ET action. Energy transfer. Okay, look at this. This could be a decent, I mean, I don't know enough about the company, so I mean, that's that. But setup wise, this has a lot of range. If we were to go back all the way to March, right, when we had the crash, this has got some range to the upside. So what do? They are, I guess they're in that. Let's take a peek. Let's take a peek at the site. Get a brief look at the site. Always, something to do. We got America's Energy 1 mile at a time. Midstream Energy Services. Okay. But what happened with I have to check on what's going on with the pipeline news, right? If anyone knows, drop it in the chat. Because wasn't that delayed or something happened with the pipeline? So I'm not sure how that affects this company, if it does affect them directly or not. But that's one thing to note. But this one does look kind of, hot. It could be a hot sector. Let's see. So that's not a bad idea. I mean, it's also relatively low. So relatively speaking, right, your downside risk is about, a couple dollars, where your upside potential is, more than a couple dollars, right? You're talking about $5, $10+ potentially to the upside if things go crazy. Let's see. Meme stocks, Intention AMC. Yeah, that's true. Maybe AMC is a solid play. Yeah, okay. Here's an example, right, of filling the gap, and so this gap right here from like 450 up, all the way when it hit 20 the next day, it came back down and filled this empty space on the chart. So $5 is probably a solid support right now on AMC. I don't really see it going below 5 for right now, but we'll see. Obviously, anything can happen. Let's see what else is going on. My ASMB is sitting at the 50 SMA. I would like to see this thing. I'm going to just grab 50 more just because why not? And, we buy dips here. So we do. We buy the red and we sell the green. That's what we do. So I just grabbed. Did it fill? Yeah, it did. So I have an average at 626. That's the thing. My stop loss is, roughly $6. I'll be more lenient on that one because it's got, plenty of room to the downside. This one, they got like $200 million in cash. Overreaction, I think, from the sell-off back in here. I think we're going to get a recovery to the upside. This is an example of like, it's not a penny stock, but that said, it's got range, right? It's got range, and it's a fairly low float stock. I believe it's like a 22 million float, so it can move fairly fast. I don't know about First Trader. I have no experience with that, so unfortunately, yeah, I know. I talk about people a lot. I feel bad for people who don't have access to that because they want to get the 4 a.m. trading. It's not the end of the world. There are other brokers out there to use. I know Trade Zero is solid. That's one that I'm thinking about. If I want to grab another broker, that would probably be my next play. My next broker would probably be Trade Zero if I had to pick one from all the good things that I've heard personally. So let's see. In the end of the day, what do we got? LGHL pushed up. It kind of, let me down here. LGHL pushed up here this morning. I thought it maybe would make a move and break out over some of these highs. I have an average at 350, so I sold some. I had an order set. So what I'll do on this one is I'll let it come back down. If it does, I'll rebuy it down here under 4, and then I'll look to play it again. That's the play. Am I the only? Okay, let's see. CEI we'll see if the Oilers run at the end of the day. That's going to be key. Do the Oilers run 245? CEI's got to break above from a couple weeks back when it had a big spike. So if we can break above that high, that's key. CTRM. Yeah, we can take a peek at CTRM. So let's see. Oh yeah, I bought a couple other ones, a couple other stocks I'm going to pull up in a second. CTRM, look at the move that it made, right? This was like your pure penny stock. It was one of the cheaper stocks a few months or a few weeks ago. And then the thing popped to almost $2 and has come back down pretty hard. I think it's probably going to need some time to settle. I don't like this chart setup because it had a big run, and now it's kind of, we'll see if it settles up. Look, here he is. I don't know if you guys can see him in the background. But that's my thoughts on CTRM. Let it settle. It did dip down to 114 today and it's recovered quite nice. Okay, so that's a good sign from the morning hours. But I would let CTRM settle a little bit more personally. Thoughts on Ethereum? I have a tiny bit of Ethereum. I have mostly Bitcoin if I had to go into my crypto stuff. mostly Bitcoin, a tiny bit of Ethereum. And if you, I mean, this is not like a plug, but like also the place that I hold Bitcoin. I know people like buy it on like Coinbase and Robinhood. I use BlockFi because they actually pay you interest on your crypto holdings. That's just the place that I use for my more longer term kind of buy and hold, set and forget crypto holdings. And there should be a link down below too if you want to check it out. But that's just what I use. And it's been cool. I like BlockFi from what my experience, it's been good. Appreciate the donations. Yeah, we're doing good here. We're doing good. I mean, the sun is shining. The snow is melting really just from the sun. The problem is that when it melts, it just turns to ice because it's like actually below freezing. So outside of the sun, it's ice. But we're supposed to get some more freezing rain and stuff tonight, and then we'll see how it goes. I think tomorrow it gets back above freezing, and then maybe we start inching our way back out. The crazy thing, I'm not, because for those who are jumping in who are new, I live in Austin, Texas, so half the city's out of power right now. But the crazy thing is that I was at the pool 2 weeks ago. It was like 80 degrees. It was like a Saturday. I was at the pool. I moved here for the warmth, and I brought the snow from the Northeast with it. Because I went to school at Penn State. Lived in Connecticut for quite some time. BlockFi is the way. Are penny stocks still hard to find? Yes and no. Yes and no. So there's a lot of penny stocks. The setups are just kind of different. So when it comes to a penny stocks that I like now, it's more so you got to kind of find solid setups, solid support setups, I think, in hot sectors. And so maybe it's a penny stock, maybe it's a $6 stock, maybe it's a $7 stock. That's kind of how I see it. They don't have to be under $1, under 50 cents, pure like micro pennies as people call them sometimes. They're out there. Plug, FCell, and Workhorse. Okay, let's take a peek at some of those. How do you find a lot of different stocks? I have just a list. Yeah, I have. I would say the best place would be going back on the channel to the how to find stocks before they are pumped video. That's a good one to go back and how I find stocks. And it doesn't have to be, bottom out play. It could be anything. There's so many things you can search for on Finviz, and there's so many different types of setups and types of stocks people like to trade. And every time, we kind of go through phases of what's super hot and what's not. Okay, so we'll take a look at some of those stocks right now from Houston. Houston, you guys got some at least something, some snow or at least some freezing rains and ice and stuff. At least Austin is just, we got like a couple inches. I think it was like the third largest snowstorm in history ever here, which is nuts. Of course, I've only been here for 5 months. FCL pulling back today. Let's see. Okay. I'm going to draw a line in right here because we have a couple of these highs up in here, which was a prior resistance up around this 2370 area. Rough, not perfect. And then we're kind of right around that level. So let's see if that holds up. I would give it down to maybe like 2250 or so. But FCL, let's see if it holds up in the low 20s here. If it can, that would be a potential good dip buy for a bigger move going forward. Again, this stock's up quite a bit. They may do an offering. They may raise some cash. If that's the case, this is going to get a pullback, but it's not the end of the world. Here's our current downtrend line. So we can, obviously that's what we're going to have for right now. We can of course extend that as time moves on if it continues to respect a downtrend. But that is that for FCL. I think it could be a decent dip buy. And if you like FCL more fundamentally, then this is your opportunity, right, to be grabbing something for the long term. Plug is coming down towards this gap down here. So I think Plug might find some support right around this point right here, this 56. It looks good. Appreciate it. I gained 300% on SCKT, then I got out. Yeah, that's nuts. I mean, I'm personally not a big day trader, right? I mostly swing, but this thing was nuts today. This thing was nuts. I missed it this morning. I was not on. I'm usually like, as crazy as it is, I don't swing trade. I mean, I day trade much. As crazy as it is, I'm up every day, like before like 6 a.m. Central, so I guess before 7 a.m. Eastern time, because that's when most of the PRs come out. So I'm up just in case, right? I'm up watching stuff, setting up while you're doing other things, and I'm up and I see all that stuff happen. And many times I'll never actually take the trade unless I absolutely love the news on it. But I missed it today. Today I felt like I was I don't even know. I felt like I was empty because I missed the morning, trading. I missed the runners. And I think it's actually really good. Unknowingly, I think it's helped me a lot because every single day you're on there, right? Even if you're not trading in the pre-market, you see what's running. You see what type of news is sending stocks up. And that can give you a really good understanding of, okay, what's hot right now? What is the current, hot market? Where's the bull market? Even in, a bearish market, right? Even if the markets are all coming down. But what's hot? What's at least running in the pre-market? What stocks, what type of news is hot? I think it's helpful a lot. It's really helpful. Negative 26 Celsius oh man. Jeez. 80% of the city of Houston's out of power. See, that's the thing that's crazy though, because that's nuts. Because it's not even like back up, at least in the Northeast, right, where I'm from, like trees come down on power lines, there's tons of trees and lines and stuff. Okay, yeah, like power's out until we fix the trees, like your power's out. But this is because the grid they need to conserve for I guess emergency buildings and emergency kind of use, so hospitals, stuff like that, right? Okay, so they need to have energy for them. However, they're not prepared. They weren't prepared for everyone to crank their heat up, and so they're like, okay, well, we got to shut everyone's power off so that we can keep what we need to have running, which is nuts. And I don't know how long it's gonna last. No idea, but that's not good. ISUN. Let's take a peek at that. That's on the list. That is on the list. This is a beaut. Let's see. Oh, I like this one a lot because I would buy this thing down to about 1650 or so. So I put these lines in. I do like ISUN a lot right here, personally. It's kind of had its big move, right? Came back down, pulling down. We're kind of finding some support. We got some wicks, kind of got some kind of consolidation. We kind of have some indecision on some of these candles. Like, where's the direction? Okay, I don't know. Now it's sitting right here. I think this is a good play. I like ISUN a lot. It's actually number one on my list. I had ISUN, I had PPSI, I had POLA, which I did buy some POLA, and then I had HIL. Let's take a look at HIL. Let's pull up HIL. Here's get a peek at how this one's doing. Because I believe this one was a generator. It has ties to the generator plays. This one's been pumping up a lot, so I'm not a huge fan of this setup. A couple months ago, yeah, but not a huge fan because it ran during some hurricanes back in here. So I think it has ties to that kind of. Let's see, construction. That's what it is. I'm gonna catch Champions League. We'll catch up there. Peace. Appreciate it. Have fun. I'm honestly, I would love to get into some soccer, football, you know what I mean? Now that football season's over in the US, my basketball team, I went to Penn State, so my basketball team is kind of, unless they have a miraculous finish in the season, got not much sports to really kind of watch, at least right now. Favorite pick between DP Dubs and Solo. I like Solo because DPW already kind of ran a little bit. So DPW, if we take a look, we zoom in. I have DPW, but it pushed up over 7. Honestly, I should have taken some more profits there. I didn't do so. I took only 50 shares out of a 300 share position off, which is kind of my bad. So I missed out on some potential gains over 7, but it's still fine. I think it's fine. It has a lot more range up, I think. And if Bitcoin continues to push up, they have Bitcoin ties, they have EV charging ties. Also, DPW is a PR machine. They are very smart, and they know when to time their press releases. So I would not be surprised to see one this week from DPW, which could send the stock quite high. But Solo right now is a better buy. Number one, it's red on the day. And number two, it's sitting here at support. So it's like DPW last week is kind of what Solo is like right now. So you could buy DPW. Could it go up? Yes. But you're also risking a good 10% to the downside, at least short term, where it could come down. So that's at least my thoughts on those. MMEX, huge miner company in Texas. I don't know enough about that one, but that could be a decent idea. Pushed up, pulled back. Now let's see if it kind of consolidates and maybe puts in a bottom here, and at that point will be potentially a decent idea to take something. Look at this, MFH. This is a beast. MFH is a monster. I've liked this one a lot. I've been playing it, messing around, range trading it for quite some time. I might just put a sell. Well, I don't know. I got 100 shares left. I don't think there's really a reason to sell this guy anytime. So, I mean, I had a much larger position that I scaled out most of it. And then now we're just sitting on, kind of free shares, as they say. So, only reason, that's why like a lot of the stocks that I'm currently in, I will say, if you're looking at the left-hand side, that's my current positions. If you're looking at that and saying I'm just going to buy these stocks, that's not a good idea because I'm scaled out of a lot of them. Like LGHL, I only have 100 shares left. MFH, only have 100 shares left. And I was in significantly lower and I've already scaled out most of the profit. So could they go for more? Yes, they could. That's why I'm holding some shares. But at the same time, they may come back down and I'll cut them back off, but I've already made money on them. So it's kind of, that's why I don't like, the whole, just buy in randomly. Like, I want people to, that's why the whole point of the channel too, is I want to make sure I have a good resource people can come into and they kind of can say, okay, like I can go through, here's a strategy on how to find a stock. Here's how, here's how he swing trades and give you guys a bunch of stuff just for free, like, so that you can at least see how I do it, what works best for me, and then mold your own strategy and style. So if I give you some awesome ideas, like you might get a great idea out of like, I don't know, like for example, like USCG might be an awesome idea because it has a recent offering, recovery back to the upside. Oil play, oil's super hot. Look at CEI, been pushing up. Look at where is HUSA? HUSA pushing up. USCG had a very similar chart, but it had the offering to kind of pull it back. And so maybe that gives you the idea. That's kind of the whole premise of what I want to be able to do. Not hand-holding stuff, right? It's just, it's ideas. It's that's the name of the game, I think. Let's see. What do we got here? What do we got? DSS is recovering quite well. I want to see DSS making a shot towards $5. Got close. Oh, it got very close today. Oh, man. What did it do? Oh, no, it happened this morning. I was like, oh, did it go? It happened this morning. Hit 428, then hit 488. It was literally 5 cents off from my sell. Oh, I would have had a nice take. I would have taken some profits. I'm in from under 4 though. So I mean, my risk here is minimal at least at this point. SOS. I missed the boat on SOS. I wish I had found SOS or not. I've seen it, but I wish I dove deeper into SOS last week and grabbed some on Friday before today because it blew up. Although you still had an opportunity to grab it this morning. So it gapped up this morning at 4 a.m. So if you were on Webull, you can trade from 4 a.m. So you may have been able to grab something here. I never recommend that. But in this case, it worked out, right? So the thing pops up towards 9 over 9, then consolidates just under 9 for quite some time in the mid-8s, and then pushes back up into the end of the pre-market hours, which is this different shading, and then grinds up into the day. And is actually looking pretty good in terms of like this pattern that we're kind of seeing. So we can probably draw in some kind of rough trend lines, just to get a sense of kind of what what we've been seeing on this guy. So this is probably going to make a move soon, I would think. SOS kind of has those crypto ties, mining Bitcoin, things like that. So Bitcoin, how is it doing? Bitcoin is sitting at 48.4 right now. So yeah, I mean, I like Bitcoin's just looks solid. You're going to have some volatility in terms of like shorter term volatility, obviously in Bitcoin, but it's looking pretty good in terms of this consolidation. It's still putting in higher lows, roughly uptrending. So we can get rid of this downtrend just for now because we kind of are moving on. But like, look at this. So we kind of have, you can attach some of those highs. We can attach, some of these lows. Let's see if we can attach some of these lows. Yeah, we can do that. Roughly there's your kind of, your pattern for Bitcoin. Now, obviously we got to get it confirmation of a move either to the downside or to the upside. If I had to guess, probably to the upside, probably. That's my thoughts on Bitcoin, which would probably take SOS, MARA, MFH, EBON is another Bitcoin play. What else? DPW even has Bitcoin ties. DSS, I believe, as well. And then LGHL has Bitcoin ties as well. It would probably take a lot of those up with them as well. So let's see. Xpv Consolidating. Let's take a peek. I mean XPV. Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Sorry. I don't have XPV personally myself in the long term. I have Neo, but that said, it is looking like it's trying to consolidate. It held the 50 SMA quite well for a little bit, then it broke below. But yeah, we're trying to consolidate. So could this thing come down to the upper 30s again? Could. It looks like it could. And let's see if we can draw on a little downtrend line. So, everyone's different on their strategy. Some people will wait till they got the confirmation of a breakout. Some people won't. For me, I like to be buying as close to the bottom as I possibly can. So this one, could be a bottom, but I mean, it's not. I can't say I can tell. If you're a long-term holder, though, this is a dip, right? Buy the dip. If you're not a long-term holder and you're looking for a trade, it's a little bit tougher to identify a trade because, yeah, maybe it holds up in the low 40s, maybe it comes down to 40, and maybe it comes down to 38 and holds up there. So it's kind of a tougher. It is not a perfect here's very clear support at this exact level. It's a little bit more tough to see, at least from my view on the chart. Favorite plays right now. What did I buy today? I did buy POLA. Here's my chart for POLA. We don't have much. I would like to get more if it dips. I'll play it down a little bit further if it does dip down to 15.50 or so. So I'm giving it about $2 leeway to the downside. We'll see. I'm playing this as kind of a generator play in in how we have been seeing all the storms and stuff. I mean, maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe I'm not. So that's why I kind of like POLA right there. That's that. Other than that, what's the other one? I like iSun a lot. There's a lot of stocks. There's a lot of charts that I really like. My only concern, though, with buying a lot of these stocks right now is that my concern is the overall market. So iSun is a good one. But here's SPY. So look at SPY. The overall market is literally at resistance. If you were to draw this trend line across the tops of the S&P, we are at resistance right now, which is kind of a little bit concerning in a sense. So I would love for a day or two of a dip, and many times, right, the staircase goes up, but the elevator comes down and we see a hard fall. So I would love to see, like we saw a couple weeks ago, some of these big down days. When we get a nice big fat down day, then that's where I'm going to be looking for some of those dip buys on Solo, on iSun. Those are some good dip buys, I think. Even POLA, if it dips, I think those are some solid dip buys, in my opinion. FTFT. How's FTFT looking? FTFT, look at that. Beautiful, man. It's getting up there. It's got that beautiful U-shaped look, and maybe it comes back down and fills this gap down to about 850. Maybe it fills that and then makes the next move up. We'll see how Bitcoin goes. If Bitcoin pushes up, this is going to be a solid play. So I do like I kind of like that. I like FTFT. What else do we got going down? PPBT. PPBT is an interesting play. I am a little skeptical of this guy because it did dip today, but I think it's still holding that 560 or so. So I'm going to keep it, and we'll see. That's an example of me, where I don't have hard stops, because I think on PPBT, this used to be KTOV, by the way. What you can see is a lot of times market makers, they know your stops, right? When you put your orders through Robinhood or whatever broker, a lot of times their orders are being sold to somebody else. So they know where your orders are sitting. They know where the stops are sitting. So they can bring the stock down, grind the stock down, manipulation in a sense, get it to hit your stops and then grab shares, at a much lower level. And so that's why I don't have hard stops. So I saw this happen. I really wasn't around to see too much today, or at least earlier. So I wasn't paying close attention. If I was, maybe I would have sold and did a panic sell, but I didn't. I mean, that's an example of a stress-free trading day is a much better trading day in my eyes. So it pulled back, but it recovered beautifully, and it's almost, even on the day. So I'm going to hold what I have. And it's literally at my average. So there's, I could have honestly bought the dip there if I was looking back and I caught that at the right time. So that's an example of, why I don't have hard stops, because, many times where your stop would be, which would have been under this 560, so maybe I would have put my stop at 547, under 550. My stop loss would have been hit when ideally, if I had put a limit buy at 547, I would have bought more shares, got my average down significantly lower, and then I could have sold those shares today for a few percent profit like that. So that's an example of changing a stop loss to a limit buy and, changing your trading in, 1 second, right? And just flip the switch. It's tough to do, but when you look back, I mean, that's one of the things I look back on was like, hey, I'm putting these hard stops in, and many times the stock recovering. Maybe I should stop doing those hard stops. And, it's helped me a lot. What do we got? MFH is the biggest, is the top, at least my top gainer on the day, personally. Let's see. Appreciate you guys. If you guys wouldn't mind, just hit that thumbs up button. That is all I ask. That's awesome. Let's get we're going about another 50 or so, about an hour or so into the close, and maybe a few minutes after, see what happens. Let's see, GSAT, let's take a peek. Let's pull this bad boy up. Okay, it's consolidating. It had a big push, but it's kind of in this range. So here we go. Let's see what we can do. Let's put in a little, what should we use? Let's use a little rectangle feature here. Here's your little Here's your consolidation box. And for now, that's what we want to see. This could be, obviously we can extend this over as time goes on. If it breaks below this box, yeah, could it come down? I would say maybe to these highs right here at like 150. So that's what I would be putting some lines in, just at like 150 or so. If it comes down to the downside, if it breaks to the upside over this 298 over 3 breakout zone on GSAT. I keep saying there's so many stocks I want to dive deeper into. I would love to have dove. I don't know what the right word is. I would love to have gotten deeper into GSAT a few weeks ago when it was kind of in this range. Didn't get the chance, missed out on the run. But there you go. There's always another play, right? Always another play. USCG, let's see how this guy's doing. USCG, getting a little bit of volume here into the end of the day. How is USO? So these are, oil plays. How is USO doing? USO is still up towards the highs, so no wonder we're seeing some oil action. We'll see if the oil plays are running maybe the after hours. They run in the after hours. They've been super hot. PPBT, just like we said, right? Now the stock is even on the day. It's even on the day. Let's see. Tmbr is a huge pipeline. Yeah, I mean that's why I think that's why a lot of the moves we're seeing now is because of that. How much income do you get for day trading? I mean that's not the question to be asking. The question it's not about the everyone's 100% going to be different. Depends on your account size. Depends on a lot of things. Depends on your level of risk tolerance. Everything like that. The way that I see it is I look at it as percentage basis. So I just see it as if I can do 5% per week, I'm happy with that. If I can grow my portfolio up 5% per week, and I mostly swing trade, I don't day trade, 5% per week, then you know what? I'm going to outperform the markets every single year, and that is good. That is solid. Past couple weeks, I've done better than 5%. So we'll see how this week goes. Short week. I mean, I'm up a little bit to start the week, which is nice, with some of the Bitcoin plays pushing and stuff like that. But we'll see how it goes to finish out the week. I mean, I would love a dip to buy some dips on a lot of stocks, personally. DPW is a play for Bitcoin. Yes, I like DPW. I'm in DPWs, and it's holding up fairly well, at least right now, around this 625 area. So that's a solid spot, I think. HEPA was one that I started to see a little bit of action on. I forget where I saw it. What did it do? Let's pull this bad boy up. Okay. Oh, yes. HEPA. Let's pull it up. Let's take a peek, and I'll dive a little bit further into this before we potentially, throw out an idea. Okay, so they did an offering. Pricing and public offering at $2 per share. We got 44 million shares. Okay. Cool. Let's take a peek at HEPA and what their float is looking like. 9 million float. That seems low. HEPA I played in the past. I played it on this dip right here down towards 150. So I actually like that. I like that a lot, actually, because it's a beautiful dip to the 50 SMA. And yeah, I wouldn't want to see HEPA dropping below $2. So that's where I would put my line at $2, my line in the sand, right around there. If you want to take a shot at HEPA, that's not a bad idea. And it's got a gap fill from where it's at, 225, up towards like 275. That's a solid 50 cents, on a $2 stock. That's solid, I think. So that trade's there. It's an option for those who are interested, who may want it. I think that's pretty good. Let's see. What do I want to do? I got a lot on the list. I got Solo. I got iSun. I got Pola. I bought today, so we're in that. I wish I could get out of. I mean, I wish I can get out, but I wish I had like one or two stocks that had just run a little bit more to like fully get out of that position, and then free up some more mental kind of capacity, because I just don't want to be in too many positions. It just takes too much managing, or at least thought, I feel like. and it takes away from other positions. So that's that. YouTube recommended me here. Awesome. Glad to have you here. We're going to be running this into the end of the day. So about 45 more minutes. We'll go a little bit into the after hours. So we'll go a few minutes over the market close. But we're talking about a bunch of stocks that we're watching at the end of the day. There's a bunch of things I like. Markets even. So generally, these aren't terrible days for dip buys if you find some stocks that are down. For example, Check is down. They priced that offering at $2. I mean, not Check. HEPA. Sorry, HEPA. Your risk here is about 25, 30 cents. As your downside risk. For a reward, I would say my first target would be up around 275. So you're looking to risk 25 cents. I would cut it below 2. So you're risking 25 cents, 30 cents for a move to taking my profits up at 275. And that'd be my first target. And then I would hold some shares for more if we can get it. That's how I would play it. At the same time, I also don't think it would be a terrible idea to give HEPA a couple days, let it kind of, potentially consolidate and hold out for a little bit. A recent example of this is HJLI, a recent offering play. It took a couple days where it pulled back. It kind of held down below under the 750 for quite some time. Offering was priced at $7. And then, boom, today is the day that it's pushing up. So it's kind of made that 10% move today. And so sometimes it takes a little bit of time, but it's, solid risk reward on some of those offering buys, I think, or those offering dips right now. Oh, wow. OVID. I'm not even paying attention. Look at this. I'm not even paying attention to this guy, and it's about to hit my sell. Look at that. 2 cents off on OVID. This one is a beautiful gap play. Look at this. OVID, kind of had this consolidation for quite some time. I mean, not for the past like week, but after it had this big gap down, consolidated for a little bit. Now it's pushing up, hitting new highs, hitting up to 395. Let's get a 390. Let's get a little fill here. Let's hit that sell. Let's lock in 50 more shares. Then I'm holding 200 more for the rest. I think I sold some already on OVID. I've sold some, so we'll see. I think in the past couple of weeks. EBON. What do we got? What do we got on EBON? Yeah, EBON. I drew this line in here today because what I saw was this is kind of we're holding up this area of support at $7. So would like to see. $7 hold on EBON, but at the end of the day, I did take off a good chunk of that position, so I only have a little bit left on that one. So it came up to this 850, which was resistance, right? We have these kind of wicks up here. That was an area we couldn't break above before, so that's the key. And the only way we're going to break above that, at least that I see, will be Bitcoin pushes up further. So Bitcoin is sitting 48.4. Bitcoin's got to probably get back above 50K for us to do that. So we'll see. Meanwhile, MFH is pushing back or trying to push. This is a super low float stock. MFH, not much volume. This thing moves fast, so be careful on that one. OVID, are we going to get our little fill here? Are we going to fill? Let's see. That's interesting, though, how OVID kind of grinded up pretty hard randomly here at the end of the day. I'm not going to complain. But OVID was another really, really big time patience play. It took a long time, but I bought my average is 256 or 253. So I didn't buy more on the way up. Sometimes I'll average up. If we kind of push up, come back, consolidate, I'll buy some more and then we'll make the next move if I'm anticipating the next move. So sometimes I'll do that. I didn't do that for this one and I just kind of let it play, but it was, from where I bought in, which was right around, I would say in this area right in here. From me buying in there, it took about a month or so. Where was that? Yeah, it was about a month ago. So it took about a month. So not every swing trade is an overnight, over a couple of days. This one took about a month. And of course, we hit that 397 and it didn't fill me. But usually when you get a stock that's pushing up at the end of the day like this, usually that's a good sign. Usually it continues momentum at the end of the day. Again, I would still like to see more on this one. So that's why I'm not like, oh my God, I'm going to freak out. I got to move my sell down to the, capture those, make sure I get my fill here. I'm not super worried about it. It's in the gap. We got some room. I think $5 isn't out of the question, but again, right? That's going to be from an average of 250. So this thing, I've already taken some profits. If it came back to 250, I wouldn't be happy, but I also wouldn't have lost money on the trade. So that's why it's an example of don't just randomly buy what somebody says that they're in, we talked about before. So there's always another play, always one. The one that I like that's similar is ASMB. Let's take a look at this one. ASMB sitting here at the 50 SMA. I would like to see it hold $6. We'll see. And then I would like to see it make a grind on up and do a similar type of move that we saw with OVID. Let's see. Yeah, I talk about strategy quite a bit on the channel. I have plenty of videos going over a lot of different things. They are not they're not explicitly titled like individually some of those things, but I have talked about in quite some of the more recent ones, going over like the 0 to 25K video, I believe, the $1,000 a day video, and then the 6 secret video. A bunch of those, and then the 3 secret video. A bunch of those recent kind of like videos going over like 3 secrets or 6 secrets to this. Those was where I really dive into a lot of the strategy that I use, and what's helped me, what's worked the best for me. So those are some good videos. And of course, I'm going to keep making more, obviously. So I recently made I made at least 1 or 2 technical analysis videos. I made a video going over when to sell, which is technical in nature because I went through, where I technically target, how I find my price targets, and how do I even know like where I'm looking to sell. That was a good one. I went over my SNDL trade, and then the technical analysis video from a week or 2 ago. That's a really good one for those who are looking to get into technical analysis stuff. I think those are helpful. Well, at least, stuff that helps me. So that's that. Clover Health. Oh yeah, it's not ideal, but I'm holding it out on Clover. I mean, I'm not worried. I think there's a lot of manipulation here. A lot of big money was buying Clover, so I'm not really worried. 50 SMA is now our resistance. You see how it got rejected by this blue line? That's resistance right now. So we'll see how this plays out. Yeah, it's not looking great, but for me, it's a long-term holding, so I have it in the long term, and I forgot about it. So I don't really worry about what's happening day to day. If I need to reassess or reevaluate in a couple days or a couple weeks later and say, hey, do I still want to be in this trade? Do I like this company fundamentally? What has changed? Why is it going down? And I find out some things that I didn't previously know, then that's where I'll make that decision. But Clover's a longer term play. I think people need to understand that, hey, a lot of price action will get ironed out over time. But if you're fine with a month, right? If you're fine with holding this thing for the past month, and you say it's a long-term swing, then stay true to that. That's your plan. Don't freak out. This is where you buy the dips. Down 5%, I think it's a decent dip buy opportunity. Just subscribe. Thanks. Awesome. Appreciate you guys for doing so. Appreciate everyone who's subscribing to the channel. That's awesome. I'm just sitting here on my Clove, not really worried too much about support resistance for right now. The reason, there is an area right here. See prior consolidation. We just bring this box across. This area right here, kind of a prior area that could be the area of support. So this is a decent buy range. And where does it come down to? 1068. So, it could come down quite a bit. It has probably another $1. It could have come down another $1. Yeah. And with SPACs, the $10 kind of floor is no longer, once they merge, that's not a thing anymore. So the stock pretty much held $10. That's like your redemption value. That's not a thing anymore once you get past the merger. So the stock could go to 0 or can go to whatever. If everyone's selling, if there's shorts, then yeah, the stock will come down. Love your channel, straight facts, no hype. Appreciate it. That's it. That's the name of the game. And that's the thing. I think a lot of people, get caught up in that stuff these days too. With a lot of, and that's the thing about that too is like, unfortunately, that's the stuff that works on YouTube is like the crazy hype stuff, And to a degree, do I kind of mess around sometimes? Do I have some fun with some titles and some thumbnails? Yeah, but at the end of the day, this information, I think the most important is the information that you provide. If you're gonna hype stuff up and give people no reasoning or just kind of just saying buy this stock because it's gonna go up. There's a lot of that stuff going on these days. And personally, to be honest, I'm just also speaking kind of randomly because I don't watch that stuff. I think for me, it's a lot of it. I have a couple people that I follow, but that's it. I keep it very, very small and tight. But sometimes I have fun where I've gone out in the past, like weeks or months ago, and I just watch some videos, some people that I've never seen before, but getting tons of views. I'm like, these people are getting this many views. They're making a crap ton of money. 100,000 views. Let's just think about that. 100,000 views in stock content. I will tell you, they're making probably thousands of dollars per day in ad revenue. So it doesn't even matter if they're in the stock, not in the stock. They're making so much more money on the ad revenue. It doesn't even matter if they're actually trading the stocks. And they just talk about it, right? And to a degree, right? People follow them because they must have made the money, I guess. But, this market, it's like throwing, like, you throw a dart at the wall, it's like it's gonna hit something, and you'll make money, right? You pick a stock, and many stocks have just gone up crazy enough, right? Eventually, it's not gonna work. So hopefully, people who watch my videos, watch my channel, get some more strategy, so that when the backside of the market comes crashing down, they don't panic sell, they don't freak out, they don't lose their entire account. It's the end of the, that's the end of the day. That's the goal. We don't want to lose the money we made, right? That's half the battle, is keeping that money in the account. Try not to watch my clove. Being honest when I say your myth. I really appreciate that. That's awesome. That is awesome. I'm sorry I missed the stream last night. For those who are new jumping in, I live in Austin, Texas, and it's like, tundra outside, snow and stuff. I'm from the Northeast, so I'm used to this stuff, but city here is not used to that stuff. So they don't have plows, salt, any of that stuff, so it's a mess, and they shut off power to half the city. Houston, similar deal, so it's a mess. I've been kind of going crazy. People have been over at the apartment, because we have power. We're 2 blocks away, and they don't have power. And so I'm like right in the heart, like almost the heart of downtown, so I kind of got lucky. But if you live just outside, you're out, and it's below freezing. That's not fun. Not at all. This is a masterclass in trading stock. The thing about my channel too that I would love, I'm gonna be doing, obviously my goal really for 2021 is to build like one of the best. Obviously, right? Everyone has a different style and strategy, but I want to be able to build a really solid just resource for people to come to with solid playlists where you can go back through my playlist. I want to organize some playlists a little bit better. I'll go back through and organize things a little bit better, where kind of like it's like mini courses all in one. So you can come to a playlist about technical analysis. Boom, you have like 5 videos or whatever, a couple videos that go over a bunch of aspects of technical analysis. Boom, now you kind of know how I see it. Everyone's going to see it differently, and you want to mold. Everyone's going to end up molding their own strategy out of that. I can't tell you how many people I've learned from and molded my own strategy from those people, but that's what I want to be able to do on the channel. So that's a great place to come, just for anyone who's just jumping in, who's getting started, and who's new, because there's a lot of people who are new. Hype sells really well. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. It does. So I don't know. We'll see how. I mean, the space is kind of crazy, but I think it gets ironed out eventually. Kind of, the solid stuff will prevail, and eventually, right when the market kind of slows down, how much hype can you hype, or how much? But at the end of the day, when you're hyping up low float stocks, they'll move no matter what. I mean, I didn't realize AYRO. See this move right here? I don't know enough about what actually happened. This was because a popular, I'm not going to say who, but many may know, a popular YouTuber recommended this stock as a potential 2x from the current levels. And so we talked about on the channel a couple weeks back, talked about the Biden plan for EVs, AYRO. And so I grabbed it back in here, and I was holding it for about 2 weeks, I'd say. Then all of a sudden the thing halts up, right? Because there's so many people buying at one time. Because when you have over 100,000 followers on a platform, and you go and you make a video talking about one stock that's going to 2x, what are all your followers going to do? They're going to go in and immediately just click market buy X amount of shares, however many shares they can. And so the stock spikes up. I sold into that spike, and that was just kind of my trade. But, I'm like, thanks. I'll take my profits, and I'll move on to the next one. Not that AYRO isn't going to go down. I mean, I'm just saying that's how I do it. Thing hit over $11, I took my profits and I moved on. Now it's back under 10. It's grinding back on up. But that's the reality, right? That's the reality of how this stuff works. Let's see. Tilray SNDL. I am personally not, but I don't think that they're bad. I made good money on SNDL. I'm not gonna, I don't feel the need to play it again. But Tilray looks like a decent bounce play. Back where it's sitting, and it's up a decent amount today, obviously, but it came down very, very hard last week on Thursday, so it's got a lot of range to go back up. So yeah, and SNDL, let's take a look at how that one's sitting. Yeah, SNDL, I think $2. I would like to see $2 hold. If $2 can hold, yeah, you're pretty good. And that's, what are you risking? 15 cents right now. Those are some solid ideas. I'm personally not in them, but they're not bad ideas. Could they run? Yeah. I want to give them a little bit more time personally. That's just how I want to do it. OVID, is it good to buy now? No, I would not recommend it. Could it go a lot higher? Yes. I'm not saying no, like don't do it. You can do it however you want to do it. But with size here, no. Because for example, right, I'm someone who found OVID a few months, over a month back, took my position at $2.50. My downside risk was a lot less than now. Now we're up over $1.50 or $1.25 from my average. So I'm holding my shares and I'm willing to let this thing kind of, play out, and I'm willing to let it ride up. But that's just me. Someone who's buying it here, you have to understand there is potentially a lot more downside risk on the table with OVID right now. Yeah, could it fill this gap? Could it run to $5, $6? Yes. Yes, it could. But that's kind of my take on OVID right now. If you get a dip, yes, it's up 14% today. So when a stock's up 14% in a day, those are the days I preferably don't like to buy. It's just not the best for me. It hasn't worked the best for swings. NXTD, this could be decent. NXTD could be a decent play under 2. Could it also come down quite a bit more? Yes. So that's kind of my thoughts on NX. So just taking a look at Bitcoin, how it's doing. It's sitting just around 48.4. So it's mid 48s, still sitting pretty. Nothing crazy on this guy. Let's see, what else do we got? NXTD, if it comes down a little bit more, down towards mid ones, 150, it'll be a beautiful buy. But that's that. Gap plays seem exciting. They do. But you have to. I think you'll be fine. I think OVID makes a recovery as long as you're patient. You shouldn't have to worry too much. If you're patient on it, buy some here, have some cash available for an average down. UK. I actually didn't take a position on UK, although it does look pretty good. I'm waiting for a dip day, so. That's just kind of my thoughts. I have a lot on the list. I have UK on the list. I have iSun on the list. I have a couple others as well that we talked about in prior videos. But I'm waiting for a super red day in the overall market. Now, I could sit here and wait all day, so I'm not going to miss out. I'm in quite a few plays. I'm just a lot lighter in those plays. There's no need for me to go in massive, because I've had some good weeks. There's no need for me to go in massive right now and then give back all my money. So I'm playing a little bit lighter just to make sure that I can identify what's the next hot sector, what I really want to go heavier on, and then that's where I'll go heavier on. So when I find something that I really like, and the time comes and we get a good dip, that's where I'll be hammering it. And I'll let you guys know in a stream or on the weekend videos, what I like the most, and obviously as things change for sure. So I'm planning on going live for about a half hour. So for those who are jumping in now, awesome. Hit the thumbs up button. Let's get 100 likes on the stream, and then we'll ride this thing out until the close. And then we'll see what happens tonight here in Austin, because I think we're supposed to get some more freezing rain. So we'll see. Appreciate the donation. ASRT holding 550 at 118. Let's take a peek. What is ASRT? Okay, so this thing pushed up to 145, pulled back, held up, put in higher lows, found support up around $1. Yeah, $1. So your downside risk here isn't that big, and now it's pushing up. This is like a good U-shaped type of pattern, right, where it comes down. Let's get the 1 hour chart, actually. We'll get a better look at the 1 hour chart, and we'll see, yeah, this is not bad. Pushing up, came back down, held roughly the low ones as support. Now we're rounding the corner and pushing on back up, and it's looking pretty good. So, this thing gets back over this 135, 145, and, this thing can make a nice little run up over 150, and we can get the party started. Taking a look at the weekly chart. Yeah, up to 175 will be the next target over 150. So that's what I'd be looking at. If I'm looking to play this one, yeah, 171 would be the target that I'm looking at. Why? Because we have 2 spikes up to that 170 area. So boom, that's the target I would have if this thing can break above this 145. Personally, that's what I would do. Hoping to sell covered calls on Clove. Yeah. Lost control of the buy finger. Yeah, that's probably a solid way to do it. Unfortunately, we'll see what happens with FSR, but I may have messed up. I'm probably going to have to buy back my covered calls. I had some covered calls that I sold 19s for this week. So on Friday, those are in the money right now. So that's not ideal if I want to keep those shares. So I'm going to probably have to buy those back and then, just hold my position and maybe buy, sell some further ones out. Only reason why FSR kind of popped off of this area that it was sitting, which it was sitting quite nicely for quite some time, down around this 14.50, was they got a $27 price target. So they got a recent price target increase. Let's pull it up. This is using tip ranks, by the way, which I think there should be a link down below for tip ranks. Here it is. So here's the Morgan Stanley price target came out last week of $27, which is a significant increase from what we've seen. In the past, we had a 26, we had a 22, but it's a pretty significant price target. And Morgan Stanley, a big name, right? People are like, oh my gosh, right? So that's kind of what we got. That popped FSR kind of pretty high last week and then continued the momentum to this week. So we'll see how this holds up. And in regards to the Webull platform, do you have any videos on how to use order book? I have a level. I think I have a level 2 video. I have a level 2, which I explain level 2. Probably, I don't really, to be honest, I don't really use volume analysis. I don't really use some of these other tabs. I literally will stick to time and sales, level 2, and I have volume analysis up. I don't think I even need to keep it up, but for me, that's just like the biggest piece. So I mean, the top gainers is pretty important that I'll use, and it's mostly level 2 and time and sales. But I have a video on level 2. I'm explaining kind of how that works, how I use it. So. But briefly, right, when it comes to level 2, you can pretty much see, and you're only getting NASDAQ total view, so you're kind of missing some other, some other aspects, but it's still a good sense. You have the visual level 2 in terms of, okay, where the buyers are stacking up. If there's a lot more green here, and heavier weighted to the green side, more buyers are stacking up, and then if there's more red, obviously more sellers, and you can kind of see walls where the walls are. We see a big spike. That's a wall of red, right? So generally, right, what I'll look at is, okay, do we have, bigger size on the left versus the right, and what price point? So right now we have a pretty big bid at 1950, pretty big bid. Now I'll look to the left, right, so we got like 3,700 shares, bidding at 1950. And you look to the left, there aren't too many big sellers on the ask, right? So that tells me this is, at least bullish right now, just looking at this level 2 personally. And then what I'll watch is I'll watch time and sales, and I'll see, okay, what orders are going through. Are there any massive orders? And especially in penny stocks, if there's anything crazy, some crazy massive orders going through, well, that gives me an idea of, okay, maybe there's something more here to look into. Why are there orders that are so big coming through? Or does somebody know something? Or is somebody loading up before news or before something happens? And that's how I use those two things personally. I never really got into diving through too much more. Honestly, other than that, I think that once you understand the basics into level 2, it's, you have what you need, really. And also swing trades for me is not as important. It is important, but it's not as important as if you're day trading. That's a little more important, right? Slapping through walls, breaking down walls, as people say, right? I'm going to slap it, right? That's what everyone says when they're going to try to, break through the ask, buy through the sellers, right, and get the stock going and back on up. ADMP, how is ADMP looking? It's a weird looking chart for me. It's trying to do something right in here. So here's your kind of area. So right between this, 175 down towards this 140 is your area of consolidation for now. If you can break back over 175, 180, this is going to get interesting to the upside. I would like to see. That would be fun to see if it can do that. It does need some more. Yeah, the volume has faded out ever since the bigger moves on that one. Didn't buy more calls back soon enough. What kind of screwed myself? Yeah. Mara, man, look at this thing. Beast hitting 45 today. Riot's doing better. Riot hit over 60 today, right? Yeah, Riot hit 61.27 today for the high. That's nuts on these Bitcoin plays. But the thing that I want to see is I want to see Bitcoin really push up over 50K and hold it. Let's extend that push over and hold it. We get over 50, I think we see 100 very, very quick on Bitcoin. So that could be interesting. Let's see. NAKD, what do we got? What's up naked right now? Yeah, it's at the trend line. So it's at my trend line that I have. I'm not in, but it's not bad. It's not a terrible setup right here where it's sitting. So I wouldn't mind taking a shot at NAKD here if you were interested. Just make sure you respect, to a degree, this trend line. If it breaks this trend line, maybe down towards 115 is an ad spot, and down towards $1, I would not want to hold it below $1. Yeah, was it a dip that we saw a couple weeks back? Yep, and then it recovered. But personally, I'm not going to play it, below 1. Would you still buy into Tmbr right now? Well, it depends. If you really believe in Bitcoin continuing to make those runs, I don't think Tmbr is a bad idea. If you like, also diving further into the fundamentals behind Tmbr, would be really important for me to be able to buy more up here, other than, technically speaking, and then up, other than the Bitcoin kind of attention hype in a sense. So that's that. Thoughts on ZOM and SunW? I don't like ZOM too much. Let's see. What is it doing? Yeah, a ZOM back to $2 would be better, in my opinion. Support, we had a prior resistance, becomes new support down in the low 2s, would be better. So that's what I would say. Let's take a look at SunW. I haven't looked at SunW actually in a while. So what is this one? Okay, well, this actually is not bad. I like this one more, okay? Why is that the case? Well, because we have come down to this area right here, this 1650 or so, prior area that we found support and pushed up. Now we're right back coming down to the under 17 area. We're getting very close to that level again. That would not be a terrible spot for a rebuy for a move back on up. Let's see. Do you sometimes use VWAP? Yes, I use the VWAP on intraday patterns, so like on the 5-minute chart, 1-minute chart. So if you were to day trade something, VWAP I think is very, very helpful. I don't personally use it on swings. I use the daily charts, the 1-hour charts, the weekly charts, and although I have indicators here, the indicators that I use are on the daily chart. So I only actually factor in this blue line, this yellow line, or the orange line, on the daily charts for my swings, as support, resistance, things like that. And then on anything shorter time frame, I don't actually bother looking at those things. That's just kind of how I do it personally. But VWAP I use that, and for example on SunW, right, this thing cracked down, and then look, and immediately we fell below VWAP in the early stages of the market open, and then guess what? VWAP was resistance. So many times you take a look at the biggest runner of the day. Let's take a look at PXS. Whoa, what is this thing? This thing is up 150%. That's crazy. Let's take a look at, so we look at PXS, right? This didn't really respect VWAP too well, but once it broke, so like early morning, here's a great example of kind of a stock, right, that runs into the end of the day. So we have a runner, right? We have a stock that's moving up quite a bit. It hits up, it's up over $1 within, like 2 hours of the market opening. It hits up here, it comes back down. VWAP, this white line is my white line's VWAP. It falls below VWAP, okay? Then don't worry about the blue line really too much. Then it holds below VWAP. And then guess what? In the afternoon hours, it grinds back up after lunch. We kind of go through the period of the morning, late morning. It goes through the period like the lunchtime hours, less volume. Look at the volume bars on the bottom, super low compared to what it was. But the thing pushes back up. It then holds up and kind of consolidates around VWAP. Then it reclaims it, gets above and breaks above. And now we're seeing the momentum push up, and it hit $4.60 from $2.20 break back over VWAP. That's where I think VWAP is very, very helpful. It's for more of a day trader or for more of one of those types of patterns. It can be very, very helpful in seeing that stuff. Let's take a peek at SCKT. How did this one respect VWAP today? Did it? Similar idea. It really didn't run to the middle of the day actually, so that's interesting. But it pushed above, held above, broke below, reclaimed VWAP, and then there it went. And now the interesting thing is that it's coming back down towards VWAP, so we'll see how that holds up into the end of the day. And NDM I think is a decent dip buy right now. Personally, I was looking to see if I can grab it on my long-term portfolio. On that one, offering dip buy. I mean, it's like the same pattern over and over for NDM, which is fun. Tattooed Chef warrants expire tonight. I don't know if that's really going to affect the stock price. Holding March 25th calls. I don't think it's a big deal. I have Tattooed Chef long-term. I'm not too worried about it. It is kind of it made a decent move off of like where at least I have an average in it, but it has been kind of stagnant for a while, right? Let's take a peek. Let's take a look at this guy. It's pushing up. Yeah, okay. So, okay, yeah, Tattooed Chef is in an interesting spot. It's got to break out. It's got to break out over this range. So it's got to push back. It's got support down around 23, but it's got to get back over 25, 27, and then 28 for, the move up for the next leg, I think. So it's kind of consolidating up here. It got resistance up in the upper 20s. That's the issue. Did you end up getting ASMB, another big institutional buys today? Yeah, I did actually. I did. I bought some. I have 200 of it for now, so that's at least. I'm leaving some more cash available to buy, further dips. But this is one of those swings where it's like I'm looking for, a decent move, not necessarily, a 5-10% move, obviously, and looking for like 30+% ideally on this one. So yeah, I don't need to have too much in the game, at least for that play. RMO, yeah, this is interesting. It's coming down out of this range that we thought was holding up quite decent. Let's get rid of this box and let's see what we can do. RMO, okay, I'm going to draw some lines in. So we got this line right here, prior support, resistance. So 15. I'm going to say 15 bucks. This is the next key. If RMO holds 15, I think it's a decent spot. I do kind of like it. I think it's not a bad buy. Would like to see 15 hold though. What in the actual world is up with SCKT? If anything other than Skinner news. Yeah, that's the thing, is that what happens is that this is the name of the game. And for those, I'm not sure, maybe a lot of you guys know and I've seen this before, but for those who are new, this stuff happens all the time in penny stocks. I'll tell you that right now, all the time. This is an everyday thing. You generally, you get a big runner every day. It's up over 500%. That's crazy. Over 1,000% is crazy. It's really crazy. But we'll see. Many times, right, the thing popped up. The key here is that this is over in the early stages of the market, right, where the market was green this morning. Futures were green, and people felt pretty good. They had a 3-day weekend. They were ready to go. They get a news runner. Boom. The news runner comes out here this morning and was like, hey, let's party. And the thing went crazy. And before you know it, it was up over 100%. Next thing you know, it was up over 200% in the pre-market hours. When a stock's up over 100, 200% in the pre-market hours, that's a pretty decent indicator, at least from, recent history. And, and in my eyes, that's a decent indicator that there may be a lot more there for the day. This could be the big runner of the day, which you see a lot more. Be careful, because there will be some volatility, but that's the indicator, and that's what we kind of saw. And so really, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter the news. It doesn't matter. Many times, it's like all that matters is if there's enough buyers, enough people buying, traders don't care. They'll all flood into this one stock, and they'll trade it based on technicals, psychological levels. Support, resistance. That's how it's traded every single time. And if you get enough volume continuing to come in, this thing can push up. It keeps pushing up. So sometimes that's what happens. I think CCIV will sell off after hours. Appreciate the donation. Let's take a peek at how CCIV is playing out here. Oh, look at that. CCIV, if it gets above 55, this could be an interesting after hours play. I don't think so. I think this could be a gapper up into tomorrow. I'm not in. I honestly could have, if I really wanted to play it, I could have. But I didn't grab any. But this could be a decent play into tomorrow. So we'll see what happens if we get a little gap up. And I'm sure what's going to happen tonight, you're going to see a lot of people coming in and either making YouTube videos, maybe not, I don't know, and talking about what's going on here at CCIV. And so this may be one of those examples of a gap up where CCIV, right, it's sitting right here, it's chilling, it's doing its thing, and it pushes up. It's pretty strong into the close. You wake up at 4 a.m. and you realize, oh my, CCIV is at like 65 bucks. Boom, so that's kind of how I see CCIV potentially tomorrow, unless there's some negative news that comes out on it. We'll see. But I think it's going to be solid into tomorrow. This could be one of those SPAC plays that goes to 100 bucks like that. I said early on, like back when it was in the 20s and whatever, I was like, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the thing hits like 30 to 50 bucks very, very quick across that news, right? And here we are at 53. I just didn't need the added stress of freaking out about it. When it comes to the halts, it just depends upon how fast it moves. So CCIV, right, it moves so fast. It goes from 40, within 5 minutes, it's at 45. So we can go to the 1 minute chart and see it's a little better. So let's see. Yeah, look at this. On the 1 minute chart, it goes from 41 to 45 in a minute, and then it goes from 45 to 53 in like a minute. So that's why you're seeing those halts. It's a volatility halt, and there's certain parameters the stock has to meet for it to halt. And then SCKT may have halted. I don't know if it. I wasn't here this morning to see, but maybe it did. It could have. I don't think it did. It didn't move too much, too fast. It may be one of these bigger green extensions halted up, and maybe right here we kind of see a potential halt. I don't know, but it depends. If SCKT, maybe it did that in the beginning stage of the day. If this thing went from like 13 to like $20 in a minute, yeah, it's probably gonna halt. It just didn't make a super insane percentage move, and it depends. It's not like, I think there's different parameters stocks have to meet. So I don't know the exact parameters as to when a specific stock's gonna halt. Thanks, I appreciate it. Thanks for the donation. You guys have a nice night as well. We've got 10 more minutes. We're gonna keep going for 10 more minutes, and then we'll wrap things up. I'll go over what I like into tomorrow, what I'm looking for. Personally though, what did I buy on the stream so far? POLA is what I bought earlier, not on the stream, but I bought it just before I jumped on. I liked where it was. Sorry, I'm messing this thing up. I like this looking chart, and I'll buy this thing down towards 1550. So I'm looking to buy a little bit more potentially, and we'll see. I'm in a bunch of swings already. So as it is, I bought a little bit of ASMB in like around the 615 area, so right around here. Bought a little bit of that. SCKT was halted. Yeah, so it was halted. I'm not surprised. I'm sure it was. Usually the big runner of the day gets halted. Would you buy into CCIV right now? I think if you want to buy CCIV, buy it if you really want to get in and you want to be like a longer term player in the stock. I would. I just don't have any extra cash in the long term. So if I bought some, I would buy a little bit, and then if we get some dips, I'll buy a little bit more. That's how I play it, or just kind of dollar cost average into it is kind of the nature of how I would personally go about playing CCIV right now. That's just kind of my take on it. Yeah. I think Webull, they're getting a lot of pressure right now to open up OTCs. I think they have some. I've heard some things that Webull has some OTC trading. So I don't quote me on that specifically, but I'm seeing some of that recently. APXT. How is APXT doing these days? This is a nice chart. I mean, look at this chart. Why? Because we got these higher lows, nice higher lows, consolidation, big range. We're at the bottom of the recent range. I think a solid move to $17 is not out of the question. And then obviously if it can go over 18, that's your breakout to the upside. So that's a solid chart in my eyes right there. Under like 1450 gets a little bit worrisome, but not the end of the world. Obviously, this is a SPAC play. So if you believe in the company longer term, then it depends on the style of the trade. If I'm looking at APXT, I don't know enough about it off the top of my head right now. I would play it technically speaking, and so I'd be buying it here, looking to sell some here, and then holding some for a breakout. If we get it, if we don't, I'll take the rest of my shares off. That's how I would play it if I was to play it right now. Let's see, NAK. NAK was one that I recently played. It's an interesting one. I mean, it's filled the gap. It's back to where it was trading. I think I would chill on NAK for right now, personally. But I mean, there's more going on behind the scenes. Didn't they repeal a decision or something? So they got something going on behind the scenes. Obviously, it depends on what happens with that. That could be key. Sends. Everyone, I've gotten a lot of people. Maybe it wasn't a lot. I've just seen a lot of like spammy kind of comments on Sends. On this channel, on my other channel, which it should be linked down below. Stock Trends is the other channel where I pick a stock each day. Either I'm getting a lot of questions on or has recent news that I know a lot of people are talking about and want to know more about. I go over what's going on. I go over the technicals, what's happening, price targets, things like that. Pretty straightforward. Doesn't mean that just because I make a video on a stock does not mean a minute, on that channel. By any means. Many of the stocks I make videos on I am actually not in, but it's fun. I enjoy doing it, and so it's fun to do the technical analysis. And if I like it, then I maybe take a position if I like the setup. This is breaking out over 5, so let's see if it can hold over $5. It's a pretty strong area of resistance in a lot of penny stocks. So the interesting part is that we look back to the weekly chart, and this is getting very interesting because the prior high was at 530. So if it can hold it above 5 into the end of the day and open up tomorrow morning up over 540, 550, that's really solid for Sens. SENS, right? SENS. Yeah. Let's see. I like Zom closer to $2 personally. Let's see. Appreciate those videos are good. Appreciate that. I enjoy doing it, and I know it's helpful to a lot of people. MFH, look at this little bad boy pushing up into the end of the day. I would honestly love to just take some profits on MFH and move on. Well, Bitcoin actually surging a little bit here. Bitcoin is pushing up. It's up a couple $100 in the past, 10, 20 minutes. That's why. So Bitcoin's pushing up. I saw we're seeing some Bitcoin plays kind of perking up. Mara, not really. How's DP Dubs doing? Yeah, it's just consolidating quite a bit. EBON, yeah, EBON's pushing up. So MFH and EBON are pushing up as some Bitcoin plays at the end of the day. So we'll see. I know a lot of people I get a lot of questions of people asking about CHEK. This was let's see, how's it doing? It's just kind of doing its thing, consolidating. It's got this little. I mean, it's got support down towards 145. I would love it down towards 150 if I can get that, but you may not get that right now. So what do we got? We can draw a little trend line in here potentially. Yep, maybe we can draw something like this. I mean, it's not perfect, but I mean, I would probably like to do something like this. I could see this a little bit better. There's a better trend line in my eyes for check. So that's what I see. What do we got? Makes sense. I love it. SCKT halted down. So that's an example right there of there's the halt down. Boom, plummets. Just like that. So move from 22.50 down to 21, just under 21. Quick enough, it halts down. KMPH, I was in. Let's take a peek at how it's doing. Am I going to be pissed that I sold it? Yes, I am. Let's see. What has it done? Yeah. Today it pushed to over almost 12. Yeah, I sold up around 10. I was in down from here from 6. So, I mean, for me, the high percentage trade is as that move from 6 to 10. Could it go a lot more? Yes. For me, based on my experience and my history of how I trade this stuff, and I log it all in a trading journal every single week, which I actually have not done this week. I logged the stocks. I didn't log the notes on what I did and stuff from last week. Crazy weekend. But, it was a solid whatever that was. $4 gain. I'll take that every single day. And you can get a lot of that across a lot of different stocks, and that's a lot of times it's always there. But this one I think has a lot of potential. It has some crazy high price targets. KMPH, let's take a peek. We got 3 minutes left until it close. What is KMPH doing? What do we got on this price targets? And this is tipranks.com. There is a link below, I believe, this video and other videos if you want to check it out. Yeah, they have a Roth Capital price target buy of $28. 6 months ago, they had an HC Wainwright buy of 24. So price targets are sitting nice, nice and pretty above where it's sitting at. So it's not a terrible idea. DSS, what is DSS doing? DSS coming on down. It's sitting there. I have some. I scaled some out. I would like to see a further move up. Got 3 cents off from my price target of 5, just under 5 today. So we'll see. It's still putting in higher lows. It kind of reminds me of how HEPA was a couple months back. Meanwhile, HEPA is actually, I think, a good buy right now after the offering. But look at HEPA, right? We had this kind of 150 support and ups and downs, but higher lows being put in continuously. And then eventually it popped, hitting 275. So I took my profits on that one. It was a solid, $1 plus move. Can't complain with that, right? Can't complain with that at all. So we'll see how it goes. I like how ET is looking at getting into some alternative energy products. Yeah, there is potential there for sure. And energy is a hot topic right now, so you got the attention to volume. TSNP, I believe, is TSNP available? I think you can trade it on Webull now. I think you can. So this thing is coming down pretty hard today. Filling this gap right here from 104 to 96. So maybe that's support 96. Could that be an area? Maybe it's trying to hold $1. So if it can hold $1, great. If it can't, maybe down towards 96, I'd give it. If not, I wouldn't want to be messing with it, holding it too low to the downside. Personally, that's just how I like to trade them. What else? POLA is coming back down to my average, so maybe I'll grab some more into the close. I'll grab 15 more shares. Let's do that. What do we got? A minute left. Let's grab a little bit of this. Oh, wait, the market just is about to close. Let's see if we can get filled. We got filled. So I got 75 of those at 1750 is my average. So that's the spot. That's where we're looking. Who are the people you've learned from? It's honestly a lot. It's a lot. So I would say there's a lot of people that I learned from back. I mean, well, when I really got started, I would say I signed up for a one of those groups. So you guys know, like, I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with the Discord groups out there and this and the other thing. I signed up about 18 months ago. I signed up for Prosperity Trading, one of those groups, or the Prosperity Trading Team group. And so they trade penny stocks. They mostly day trade in there, but there's a lot of other channels in the group. So I mostly kind of fell into the swing chat, learned from a lot of people in there. That was a good help, huge help. And then I wouldn't say that there are too many people I would say on YouTube other than, I don't know. When I initially got started, everyone probably knows Ricky Gutierrez. He was, one of the bigger trading names in the trading space for quite some time. That was like years ago that I started watching his stuff. I took his course a while back when I got really early on. Well, when I caught my second wind of trading, I had traded, lost like all my money prior to that. Then I got into it. That was helpful. Learning from a lot of people in the groups. And then really what it came down to, I think the biggest thing was, I follow a lot of people on Twitter. I don't really tweet stocks on Twitter. I follow a lot of people on Twitter, but I'm sure you guys can go and look me up on Twitter and then find who I'm following and follow everyone I'm following, and you can learn from a lot of people in there. I don't ever use that as like an alert. I use social media and stuff like that as a curation of a watch list. So I use all that stuff to say, okay, what's going on, all this type of stuff. And then, I can build out my own watch list, from there. So that's what I do. And then it really comes down to my own processes. So now I'm just every single day, I'm watching stuff in the morning hours. I see what's running. I see what's hot. I see what's been moving. And I can use that to my advantage to figure out what is lagging, what's the next sector, what's the next move. And that's how I've been doing it. LGHL, what do we got? Let's see. After hours, we have just closed up. Market is now closed, and LGHL got a little, might be an error on the chart there. So nothing crazy though, nothing crazy. How much is tip ranks? Yeah, tip ranks is a bit pricey. Let's take a look at how much tip ranks is actually off the top of my head. The only thing that I don't like about tip ranks is that they have like one kind of price point. And so it's yearly, which is kind of unfortunate. But they are telling me that they're going to be doing I think there's a basic model. They're trying to be doing, okay, now they have a monthly plan now. So they took my suggestion, if that's the case. I literally told them saying, hey, I think people would like a monthly option. So they have a $50 a month, or maybe it's you have to buy, you pay for the monthly, you pay it for it's like a one-time thing. Unfortunate. But that's the thing. I think it's super helpful for research, not necessarily like, oh my gosh, you need to use it. Basic is probably a decent place to start just to get some ideas and stuff. But it's kind of on the pricier side for those who don't necessarily, feel the need to use it. It's an added tool, and they reached out to me and said, hey, do you want to use it? And I was like, okay, and I've been using it and I like it. So that's about it. You should start a course. I don't want to do that stuff. Just because the problem with that I see is that there's already a huge barrier to entry, or barrier there's not really a barrier of entry, but it's hard enough to trade profitably and consistently, right, in any market, or through year over year. So to me, it's what's the point of charging people, right, for a course or for something like that, when at the end of the day, right, if I do that, I have to, it's a whole other side of managing things, which I know you can get people to do it for you and whatnot. But you're charging people for information that is already out there for free. Number one, I enjoy the YouTube side for free because in a sense, it's like I create a course on YouTube, but I I get paid for it because there's ads and stuff on the videos. So I'm getting paid to give out free information, to share, videos, and I can pretty much curate massive like lists and massive playlists on my channel that are essentially a course. I can make a course in there, like over time, stack a bunch of videos together in a playlist. Hey, here's a course on, on everything. And I made a video on penny stocks, how to trade penny stocks in 2021. Essentially, that's a course in and of itself. 40 minutes of me going through a bunch of things that I do, that help me, that I use, that's how I do it. It's a course. So I don't really need to do that. And it's essentially like, I see it the way I see it too is like, if you can make money trading profitably, you don't need to sell a course. I mean, it's an extra avenue of income, but if you can consistently trade, right, you're going to make more money than you ever need, right? If you can compound your money, at 5% per week. Like for example, my goal was 5% per week, every single week. If you can do that, do the math on where you'll be at in 2 years, right? It's crazy. So that's my take on the course. And I don't want to make people pay because then they don't have enough money to start, and then they're buying the course and they're trying to figure out, I got to do this, this, and this. Because they bought the course, they have to follow someone this way. They don't. There's a lot of, that's just that. I don't trade OTC or pink slips personally. Well, actually, let me see how I did on the one that I had today. And I have one, but I traditionally do not trade them. Where is it? I have RVVTF is a shroom play. So it was up. Actually, it was down $5 today. Okay. But it was up a decent amount a little bit earlier. I think it's fine. I'm holding that one as a little bit of a kind of my shroom, my play on the shrooms, psychedelics, that type of stuff. What else? Let's see how I fared on the Webull account today. How did we fare? That is the question of the day. We are doing pretty well. Up over 1,300 on the day, which is, I can show you guys here right now. Why not? Why not? Yeah, this is just the 15th through the 16th. Yesterday, the market was closed, so up almost 1,400. So nearly 3%. Something like I said, there's no rush. There's I'm not rushing to buy stuff today, right now, just to buy it, and then the market comes down tomorrow. I got a ton of cash. I'd rather deploy that cash on a dip day, on a red day in the market. Market was pretty much even. S&P was down, Dow was up, Nasdaq down. Kind of even. If we get a big sell-off tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, then that's where I'll hammer a bunch of dips and enter some new positions that I've been watching. So I've been getting a lot better at mastering kind of the being more nimble around my trading, and I think it's really, once you get to a certain point, you can start to realize there's no need for the FOMO, and you start to we're fine, and that's a lot of people have that issue. After hours, Pets is flying. Pets, look at this thing, is going crazy. Hit $5, $5.73. That's nuts. HEPA is pushing it after hours a little bit. Yeah, a couple percent. Got a little bit of buys until close, it looks like. So, let's see. Anything else? Yeah, this video will stay up on the channel for quite some time. And then we'll do some more tomorrow. I'm sorry for those who are in now, who are jumping in now. We're probably gonna wrap things up here very soon. I missed yesterday's live stream. I put a thing out in the community section of the channel, and I missed that because we had a snowstorm here in Austin, Texas, and half the city's out of power. So if you were to take my street, go 2 blocks to the west, they're out of power, which is crazy. So, and it's below freezing out, and it was like 9 degrees this morning. So they're not prepared for that stuff here. So that's why I missed it. And we'll see. Hopefully tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, we're back to normal. So we'll get back to the normal schedule, videos every day usually, and then live streams Sunday nights. Sunday nights, we should be able to do that. Sunday nights. Stocks I bought today was ASMB, buying this bad boy down here, down around the 50 SMA, down around, I want to see $6 hold roughly. I bought a little bit of, where is that bad boy? Where is my POLA? POLA. I bought POLA, sitting up, holding up pretty well. I'll buy this thing down to about 1550. After that, I will not hold it below that, So that's what I bought today. Didn't do too much though. So I entered one new position and I scaled out and sold a bunch of other ones. So that was at least what happened there. That's really it. Nothing crazy today. Fairly calm day. I did not get to the desk until like afternoon. So I came like 1 o'clock Central Time is when I really hit the desk and was like, okay, what the heck happened today? But the nature of it is crazy because we're up $1,300 today. It's swings. That's why I like swings. It's like super low stress swings, and I'm not in big. If I was in heavier, yeah, okay, we could have had a crazy day, but just, no need to go crazy. Could I lose it all tomorrow if the market's down big? Yes, but what I'll do is I'll deploy the cash. So we get a bounce back day, boom, we'll make it all back and plenty more. That's the name of the game. That's the name of swings. Minus 45 in Canada. That's insane. I mean, I'm from the Northeast, so I mean, I'm used to some cold. Went to school in Pennsylvania, central Pennsylvania, so Penn State. I mean, we had some cold days. And of course, when you're a college student, you don't have enough clothes. I'm not wearing like massive heavy jackets, right? I'm wearing like a little sweatshirt to class half the time, and so I'm used to fairly cold, 0 degrees below freezing and stuff like that. But it's just they're not used to it here in Texas, so it's a mess. It's an absolute mess, which is terrible for all the people who have to lose power because. I feel bad. I mean, I'm sitting in my heat, like, obviously not cranking the heat, but it's a whole like power grid issue. So hopefully they get this stuff taken care of and back to normal, but it's still, crazy. And yeah, Florida at 70, it was like 80 something here like 2 weeks ago. I was at the pool, like literally not even kidding. So, man, livable out here in London. Hey, okay, the platform I use before we wrap things up is Webull. That's this platform that I use. Use it every single day, trading from 4 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern. This is why I like it. So NPA hasn't stopped snowing since Christmas. You got more, right? You got more. You got a storm now, and then you got another storm later this week. So you got plenty of stuff coming up in the Northeast. I mean, do I miss it? Yeah. Do I miss being up in the Northeast? Yes and no. I mean, I like the snow. I like snowboarding. Obviously, with the whole pandemic and stuff this year, yeah, it's not as easy to do. But next year, the plans are to be doing some more like Colorado trips, Utah, I want to go to Montana. I want to go to Big Sky, Montana. That'll be fun. So that's the plan for next year, to do some more of that. I mean, I love living where it's warm, and I'm fine with taking trips to where it's cold for temporary. I'm fine with the cold and the snow, but that's that. Trit quick. Let's take a look at TRIT, and then we'll wrap things on up for the day. This is a decent oversold buy. I think this is a decent oversold play. Wouldn't want to see it make new lows down below like 7,650, but it looks like it's a pretty good oversold play. Lots of risk reward, up towards $10 from my first target, and then go from there. So I like that. TAAT, and then we'll wrap on up. Wow, that's nice. Oh no, this isn't TAT. TAD. Oh, maybe it's not on no, TAT Lifestyle. There we go. Yeah, that thing broke out today. I think it's pretty overextended though, personally, because you got resistance up right in here, 425. $5 will be another area to watch. $5 will be support to the downside if it comes down. So watch that. I don't know enough about the company, further down. So that's that. I'm going to wrap things up. PLTR, I think, is solid longer term. So that is that. I'm going to wrap things up. Hopefully everyone is doing good. Hopefully people are green. If not, there's plenty more time. Patience pays here. No need to rush into something. If you're red, don't panic sell. Let's be smart, right? There's always another day, always another stock. There's no need to chase stuff. So I will see you guys tomorrow. This will stay up on the channel so you can go back and watch it. We talk about a lot of stocks throughout the stream. So I know it's kind of long, but if you have some time, it's not a terrible idea to go back and see what everyone's been talking about, because it will stay up. So thank you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next one.